Hello and welcome to the Confidence Corner. Today I'm coming to you live from what would seem to be tropical, but not so tropical today, Newport Beach. And I'm outside of a place specifically called that boba place, enjoying a boba. So welcome to everyone that is here. One of my favorite topics is to talk about how to be taken seriously, which is what we're going to be doing right now. And you can hear the child behind me who clearly wants to be taken seriously and has a strong and powerful voice. Hopefully you can hear me in between. So let's talk about what are some tips to be taken seriously, because this is one of the biggest problems that I see women being faced with, that they are incredible at what they do, they're incredible speakers, they're incredible at their jobs, and yet we need to make sure that we come across in the most powerful way as we can, because a lot of times I see women misrepresenting themselves with tentative voices. They don't speak as strong as they could, and that in and of itself can make a big difference. And I can vividly remember being in a group scenario where somebody who I knew that had been an expert in her topic for a long time, and yet when she got there in the room, what I noticed is she had such a tentative voice, and I thought, who is this person? It didn't even come across as she normally comes across. So very, very different experience. So I want to give you 5 specific tips on what you can do to be taken seriously. The first one is assume you have permission. You don't need to wait for it or ask for it. So let me give you a story for this. I was talking to a business owner that had a pretty significant size staff. And he said, I had a woman come up to me weeks into being in the job, and she said to him, hey, we'll call him Mike. His name is not Mike, but we'll call him Mike. And she said, hey, Mike, I'd really like to lead in some of the meetings. So I'm wondering if you can give me an opportunity to do that. And he goes, lead. You're already in a role of leadership. You don't need to ask for my permission. So the first step is definitely assume that you have permission to speak, to lead, and just go for it. You don't need to ask for permission. That's number one. And the other thing that I would say that this woman learned and probably wasted a number of months of her career, might have been weeks, I don't remember all the details, but the point is you don't want to waste any time. And you don't want to be waiting for somebody to hand you the permission. And frankly, that was me for far too long as well. I was waiting for somebody to tell me to lead or that it was okay to speak, and it cost me for sure. So number 2 is to speak with a declarative tone. You want to make sure that you're using your voice. You have this beautiful instrument that is part of who you are, and you want to make sure that you are using your voice. And so one of the things that you can do is to notice how your voice sounds. And if you've been following me at all for any amount of time, you'll know that recording yourself is a very powerful and important thing to do. How do you come across with your voice? Do you sound tentative? You might think that you're speaking with projection, but maybe when you actually listen back to it, you'll notice that it might not be as strong as it could be. But the other thing about speaking with a declarative tone, thanks for bearing with all the background noise, by the way. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can't, let me know. But the declarative tone is to avoid that upspeak tone where we speak like we're talking with the question mark. Imagine if I said to you, it's really important to speak with a declarative tone. You wouldn't probably think I was being serious. You might not take me very seriously, and you certainly wouldn't think that I was credible. So you want to make sure that you speak with that declarative tone when you're saying a statement. You don't want it to be a question. The other thing with your voice is to make sure that you have vocal variety, and you vary up the volume, the pitch, and the pace. And when you do that, and when you also add in pauses, basically punctuating your sentences, that's going to make a huge difference, because the pauses in and of itself will create more conviction if we're speaking like we know what we're talking about. Basically, that's the goal. And then the third one is to avoid minimizing language. And thanks for the comments. I love that. So glad the sound is good. Thanks so much, Andrea. The minimizing language that we often use are things like just and little. We might say something like, I just want to share a little tip with you. And notice how I'm even hunching my shoulders and clasping my hands, and I don't sound or come across as very confident. So the minimizing language, start noticing the words that you're using that might be taking away from your credibility. And if you want to hear all 9 of mine, you can buy my book, or you can get this for free on my website. You can go to KarenLaus.com and sign up for 9 words to avoid and what to say instead. One of the other ones, so let me give you an example. Instead of, I just want to share a little tip with you, I want to share a tip with you. Do you notice how different that is? I love the difference. And these subtle things that we can do truly do make all the difference. It's little, small steps that we can take. I shouldn't say little, right? I just told you not to say little, but there is a time and a place to say little. So making sure that we take those steps, and that can truly help somebody decide if they want to do business with you, if they want to buy from you, if they want to hire you, if they want to promote you, and all of the things. This is a life skill that we're talking about. Number 4, we're doing more in person now. Remember to have a strong handshake. You don't want to have just a limp handshake. We've probably all shaken people's hands like that. And you almost feel like, wow, it's when it's weak like that, that person does not come across with a lot of confidence. So have that strong handshake, and at the same time, make direct eye contact. Now that's, of course, when we're in person. The thing you want to avoid when you're in person is your eyes darting all over the place. It can make us look like we're nervous, or when we look up to think or down to think, we do it too much. It looks like we're unfocused. It looks like we're nervous. It looks like we don't know what we're talking about. There are a lot of things that we're doing that can get in our way. So make sure to have that strong handshake and direct eye contact. Now, to address virtual environments, you may or may not even notice this, but I right now am looking at the camera. So I'm looking at the top of my iPhone, and my guess is that it appears that I'm looking at you. But imagine if I look down at the bottom of the cell phone, or if I'm on the phone with someone on FaceTime, I might be looking in the middle of it, or on Zoom, I might be looking over on the other side of the screen, because that's where the other person is, and that's a better experience for me. But that is not a better experience for the audience. So the hardest thing is the virtual scenario, where you've got to, going back to the eye contact, looking at the webcam is where you want to focus. The truth is, it's about an inch inch-ish below the webcam for most of them. That is the sweet spot. But you always want to test this, because every webcam is a little bit different. I have a MacBook Air, and when I'm on it, it's about an inch and a half sometimes, that still makes it look like I'm looking at the person. Because we always want to be thinking about the experience we're creating for other people. And if we're thinking about how to be taken seriously, this is another component of that. So let's do a review. 5 tips on how to be taken seriously. Number 1, assume you have permission. Don't wait to speak or to lead. Just do it. And this is one of those examples where 99% of the time it's going to be totally fine if you do that. If for some reason it's not appropriate, then better to ask for forgiveness than wait or ask for permission, right? Let's focus on that. And then the second one is to speak with conviction. Have that declarative tone, so you sound like you know what you're talking about and you're punctuating your words. Number 3, avoid minimizing language. Avoid little, just. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? All of those things look like we're needing permission, and it takes away from our credibility and confidence. Number 4, have that strong handshake. And number 5, make direct eye contact. So those are the tips that I have for you today, and I appreciate everybody that has joined. Thank you for joining. I see a number of you that have been in here week after week, so it's very wonderful to see you again. And you have just listened to and watched the Confidence Corner. So I look forward to hearing more from you. If you want different topics or more of something, please let me know what you'd like to hear more of or less of, potentially. I'm always open to feedback. And we will be here at the same time next week. And again, signing off from Newport Beach. I'm going to go back to my boba and my client that I'm meeting up with for fun, because I'm going to be speaking at an event for her in a few weeks. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. Take care.